Well, good morning, my friends. Another beautiful day. Another beautiful day. I thought it'd be a good day for a little stroll, stretch the legs. This is my first hike since I got back from hunting. As I said to you guys in my other video, I was beat up this trip. Way more than normal. Don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know if I ended up getting some kind of a cold or flu or COVID or what the hell it was, but it took me, I've been home a week now, and it took me a week to get feeling human again, which is abnormal for me. Usually my trips don't even make an impact on me, but this year they did. This year it did. But whatever, I'm all good now. And it's a beautiful morning, so I thought, you know what? I get out and see how the legs feel. This is a cool area that I'm in here today. Really cool area. I've seen some huge bull elk in here over the years. But I've also had some pretty strange shit happen in here. And I'm going to see if I can find some of these trees that have been snapped right off, broken. There's one right there, speak of the devil. There's one right there. That one's not all that high off the ground. But I'll tell you what, it's all of 6 feet. It's all of 6 feet, and you can see it's an 8-inch tree. And I don't know, whatever. It could be just wind. It could be just the wind. It could be these big elk in here hammering on the trees, pushing on them. But any of these trees that I've found in here that have been broken, they are. There's another one right over there. See if I can zoom in on that one. Oops. Yeah, there's another one right there that's broken. Any of these trees I've seen in here that are broken, there's been no rubs on them. And, shit. There's been no rubs on them, so my guess is it's not elk, but who knows? Could be elk. Could be wind. It could be our friends in the wilderness. Well, you know what? I'm not going to call them our friends in the wilderness anymore. Hang on. Let me get this spun around here. Let me get this spun around and catch my breath. I'm not going to call them our friends in the wilderness anymore. Because as mentioned, I think it was my last video, as mentioned in my last video, I did reach out to Fred Roll. Fred Roll, subarctic Alaska Bigfoot, subarctic Alaska Sasquatch, and had a really good conversation with Fred. Really cool guy. And one of the things that Fred and I discussed is, we discussed a lot. We chatted for a while. We're going to get together again because Fred didn't have a whole pile of time that day. So we'll get together again for sure, because sounds like a really, man, what an interesting man. So anyways, Fred, amongst other things, I asked him a bunch of questions because I was unaware at the time of his experience with these beings. So I asked Fred a bunch of questions and stuff. And one of the questions I asked him is, I said, Fred, in your opinion, are they friend or foe, these forest people? He calls them hairy man. I guess maybe that's what they're referred to up in Alaska, is hairy man. But I said, are they friend or foe, in your opinion? And Fred goes, absolutely, without a doubt, they're foe. He said they are not friendly. They are not. They're not good people, for the most part. So I found that kind of interesting, because I was always under the impression that, just like human beings, there's good and there's bad, right? I'm going to turn this camera around without losing what I'm looking at here. Try to zoom in if I can here. You guys see that dark spot right there? Oh, please don't move. God, I just hope that's just a stump. If that frickin' thing moves or disappears, I'm out of here. Let's go with stump. Man, oh man. Let's go with stump. All right. Piss on it. I'm just going to say it. Leave me alone. I'm just out for a hike. Just going to read an email about y'all. Let me do my thing and I'll leave. You leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. I'm not here hunting. I'm just out for a hike. There. If you think I'm crazy, whoever's watching this, well, so be it. I've always said a little crazy is good. And I don't think I'm going to spend a whole lot of time in here because I don't have a warm and fuzzy feeling about me today. So let's get to an email. Gotta be honest with you. Gotta be honest with you, not the most comfortable spot that I've filmed in. Keeping my pack on. Keeping my pack on in case I want to get the hell out of here in a hurry. I'm keeping my pack on. Cool morning. I don't even know what date. I don't know what the date is. I know I've been home for a week, but yeah, it's nice. I love this. I love these temperatures. So of course, the emails rolled in while I was away. I was kind of getting through my pile. But now there's more, and I'm sure they'll keep coming. And as long as they keep coming, you guys, I'm gonna share them with you. You know, as I said, I spoke with Fred, and Fred's just about all about sharing and sharing information. He said to me that in his culture, you know, they were brought up and raised to not talk about these people, these beings. I call them people, so I'm just going to refer to them as people. They were taught not to talk about these people, and I've heard that from several First Nations. I remember an email that I read about the fishermen dip netting, and he said that same thing in his culture. They were told not to talk about them. That just you know, they were aware of them, and they were told to stay away from them, give them their space, but not talk about them. And Fred mentioned that same thing. So, and I said to Fred, well, you were taught that, but so why are you now openly discussing it? And he goes, we need to, because he said there's so many missing people, going missing every year in Alaska. And I apologize. I've got all the notes because I kept notes of when Fred and I spoke. And I'm gonna talk to Fred about doing a live with him to get a little bit more information. But I kept notes of things, and Fred gave me the numbers of people going missing every year in Alaska, and it's friggin' staggering. Like, I don't even want to say the number, but it was in the thousands. Okay, it wasn't 20, 50, 75, a couple hundred. It was several thousand every year go missing, and I was blown away by that. And I'm going to look more into that because that's alarming. So Fred said that's why he's sharing, because he goes, I don't think all the disappearances are related to the hairy man, but he goes, I believe that some are, and that's why he's decided to share. And I think a lot of people in his culture are starting to share. I think a lot of the encounters that Fred shares with everyone, I think a lot of them are from First Nations people in Alaska and those areas and whatnot. So yeah, that's why Fred's decided to share, and I'm doing the same thing. So as long as the emails keep coming, I'm going to keep sharing. Don't like it, bugger off, don't watch. If you do like it, great. If you find it interesting, great, because I do. I find it very interesting. And the more I dive into it, the more interesting I find it. So anyways, here's your cue, impatient people. Everybody that can't stand the beautiful scenery and can't stand to hear a person talk for 5 minutes, here's your cue. The glasses are going on. The glasses are going on. The glasses are going on, so you know what that means. All right, here we go. Without further ado, we're at 19 emails to read now. So we will get them. That's 19 hikes. So that should be done in, if I get out once a week, that should be done in 4 a week, or 4 a month. We should be done here in 5 months. We got to get more than that. We got to get more read than 1 a week. Anyways, next on the list here. Hello, Darren. My name's Ernie McGregor, and I live in Haines Junction. I've lived in the Yukon now for 30 years after moving here from Great Slave Lake. I came here to mine gold and have been fortunate enough to make enough money to sustain our family since we moved here. We still operate a small mine site here And I have my wife and both my boys working with me in the family business. I've done a ton of prospecting over the years. And before I started mining, that was what I did for other people, was prospect areas for gold. I've ventured to many different areas around the Yukon and northern British Columbia. And I'll tell you, I've seen my fair share of crazy shit over the years. It's amazing to me now how the topic of Bigfoot has grown so much in the past 5 years or so. There have been stories of these people for likely hundreds, possibly even thousands of years. Yet now in 2024, there seems to be a huge surge in the number of people seeking the truth. I don't need to look for evidence of their existence, because I've had first-hand encounters with them on 2 separate occasions. In 2009, I was northeast of Haines doing some prospecting on some creeks and old drainages, and my wife and I had a small canvas wall tent set up as home base while we were prospecting the surrounding area. We had ridden our ATVs about 30 kilometers from the truck and had planned to be in the area for a couple of days when we had 2 of these beings terrorize the shit out of us for several hours in the middle of the night. It was around 10 p.m. when we turned in. As that time of the year, it's still light until 10 or 11 o'clock. I woke up sometime around 1 in the morning to a very loud hooting sound, followed by a long, deep bellow, somewhat similar to that of a cow moose in heat, but it was definitely not a cow moose. The sound was fairly close to our tent. I'm guessing within 100-125 yards or so. My wife woke up almost the same time I did, and immediately she asked me what was making that noise. Kim is well versed in the wilderness as well, and she knew it was something out of the ordinary. I said, "I'm not sure what the hell it is, Kim." Sorry, guys. I said, I'm not sure what the hell it is, Kim. When this thing stopped its bellow, we heard another call 180 degrees in the opposite direction from the first. It was a very similar sound, but it had a different tone to it, and it didn't bellow. It would just hoot 4-5 times, and then almost had a barking type sound at the end. This one was further away from the first one, but they kept calling back and forth several times. I carry several guns when I'm in the woods. I have a 45-70 rifle and a Defender shotgun and a 45 sidearm. They were all in the tent with us, and all but the 45-70 were loaded, and I loaded it right away. Kim was becoming very nervous. Kim was becoming very nervous and was almost in tears because the calls had a threatening tone to them. And all of a sudden, the one to our right that was further away started to get closer. The calling was still loud, but it did soften as it got closer to us. I'm not going to bullshit anyone, Darren. I was very nervous myself and had butterflies and a turning feeling in my stomach. My mind was telling me that these were Bigfoot we were hearing. But my mind would also say, no, it can't be. The one being to our left had not moved its location, and as the other one got closer, the left one started making a popping sound, maybe a clap or something along those lines. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it sounded like a pop. I decided to go outside with the Defender and the 45 and let some shots go in the air. I stepped just outside of the door of the tent with my headlamp on and gun at my hip and fired 4 fast shots in the air, then stood there and listened. It was quiet for about 5 seconds, and then I heard the calling to the right, but it was farther away. but it was way farther out than it was at the start. Then just a bit to the left, another call and a very loud bellow, followed by a bunch of grunts. That was the last sound we heard that night. It was absolutely silent the rest of the night. Kim and I stayed up all night and talked, and I know she was very scared, as was I. I am a bushman. I work in the bush, play in the bush, and I live in the bush most of the year. But I was terrified. The noise these two beings were making went right through my body and gave me goosebumps and made the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. At daylight, we grabbed our guns and went over towards where the closer being had been, but there was nothing to see other than a couple broken alders and a slight path through the willows. I did look for tracks, but the ground in that area is very solid, and I didn't see anything. Kim and I went back and packed up and decided to end the trip and head home. We were riding the ATVs out, and I was leading, towing our tub trailer with the gear when I saw a flash of black moving quickly through the willows beside the creek. I immediately stopped and grabbed the 45-70, and this thing was literally vanished before my eyes. Gone. I was only 60 yards or so from it, and it disappeared right in front of me. I turned and asked Kim if she saw that, and she said no. I tell you, I couldn't get back to the truck fast enough, man. I was done with that area and just wanted to get back home. In 2015, Kim stayed home with our sons while I went out to Prospector River about 4 hours from our house. I took my ATV, my trailer, my canvas tent, and had planned to be out for 4 or 5 days. Day 2 of this little trip, I was at the river most of the day running some test pans, and I returned to the camp spot around 8 p.m. My camp was completely destroyed. My wall tent was torn down, and the aluminum pole frame was bent and twisted beyond repair. My little potbelly stove was thrown 30 feet away from the tent, and the stovepipe was scattered everywhere. My cot and clothes were thrown everywhere, as well as my food box was tipped upside down, but no food was gone. Bears would not leave the food. They would do the damage, but they would not throw a stovepipe. They would not throw a stove and pipe and bend the tube tent frame. It just wouldn't happen. The entire area was all tore up, and then I saw the prints. The footprints looked human, but were twice the size of my feet. As I looked in the direction the prints went, there it was. This thing was only 50 to 60 yards from me in the willows, staring right at me. Darren, this thing was huge. My guess would be 9 to 10 feet tall, and as thick around as a full-grown boar grizzly. Just the sight of this thing sent fear through my body, and I was frozen solid. I could see its face clearly. It was mostly covered in short black hair, but its skin was visible, and its eyes sunk deep into its head. I tried to scream or yell, but I couldn't make a noise or move. I was sure that I was a dead man. This thing stared directly at me for what seemed like minutes, and then it let out a super loud, deep, guttural grunt, and instantly spun and took off. It was out of sight in the blink of an eye. When this thing grunted at me, I could see its dark-colored teeth, and its facial expression is forever burned in my memory. The moment it was out of sight, I was able to grab my sidearm and let 3 shots go in the air. I don't know why I did that, but I did. This being, person, whatever the hell you want to call them, looked so human it was incredible. Its face was like a prehistoric caveman, but much larger than any human being I've ever seen. It was simply massive. Its forehead was pronounced, its head had a rounded point at the top, and its ears were not visible. It had a very wide nose and pronounced mouth. It was a terrifying sight, to say the least. There was also a very strong odor of wet dog or wet bear mixed with rotten flesh. It was a terrible smell. I'll never forget it. I never noticed the odor until after the thing was out of sight and I fired the shots off. The fear that I felt right then and there still makes me shake to this day. I thought at any minute this creature was going to charge out of the bush and kill me. I quickly threw what I could into the trailer and hooked it up to the ATV while constantly looking over my shoulder. I rode out of there as fast as possible and headed home. I got home around 3 a.m. and Kim met me at the door. She said, "What happened? Why are you home?" So I told her the entire story and I actually started crying when I got to the part where I saw this thing so clearly. She said I looked pale white, like I had seen a ghost. I said, "Kim, I wish it was just a ghost," but it wasn't. These two encounters have permanently changed my life. I think of them often, and when I'm in the bush, I sleep very little, and I wake up at the snap of a twig. I do still go out hunting and prospecting, but it's different for me now. The enjoyment is far less. I know nothing happened to Kim and I, but I felt very threatened and feared for our lives. I was certain with the second encounter that was the end for me. I don't like the Bigfoot people. I want nothing to do with them ever again. But unfortunately, that's not my choice, it's theirs. I don't think they are a kind people. Maybe they do want to be left alone, but I have as much right to be in the woods as they do. Or do I? I heard you say in one of your videos that we can coexist with them. I have to say that I'm not completely convinced of that to this day, Darren. The being that stared me down at 50-60 yards had the look of a creature ready to pounce and kill what it was looking at. It did not look friendly. It was the monster that many people dream about. And I've had many nightmares over the years because of this damn thing. This creature took away my passion for the wilderness, and that pisses me off. As I said, I do still go out, but it's just not the same as it used to be, and it never will be again. I know this topic is a sensitive one, and there will always be critics, and that's fine by me. I really don't care. But for those that want to know the truth is they exist, and I personally don't think that they are friendly. That is just my opinion, however, and I respect what others think as well. Anyways, Darren, I wanted to share this with you, and if you feel like sharing with the people, let her rip. Please don't ever let down your guard out in the woods. They are out there, man, and they know you are there as well. I know you know all this, but I just can't help but remind you of the danger. I know you've had some encounters yourself, and I consider you and I very lucky to be alive. I think anyone who's had an encounter and is here to tell about it is lucky as hell. Anyways, take care and feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to. I'd love to chat sometime. Please be careful on your adventures and watch your back. P.S. Kim and I would like to order a couple Outlaw Country coffee mugs. Let me know how to do this. Thanks, Darren. Ernie McGregor. Ernie McGregor. Holy shit, Ernie McGregor. I was a little freaked out before I was a little freaked out in here before I read your video. And now I'm friggin' freaked out. Dude, holy shit. I am going to call you. I am going to call you to be 50 to 60 yards in the pretty much in the clear willows. I know exactly the kind of country you're talking about. It's very similar to the country that I hunt. To be 50 or 60 yards from a 9 to 10 foot, it's just like being 50 to 60 yards from a 9 or 10 foot grizzly, right? And a boar grizzly, an adult old boar grizzly up in that country can be 800 to 1,000 pounds. And when they stand up on their back legs, they can be 11 feet tall. Okay? Easily. So to have something like that stand up, I've had the grizz stand up at 25 yards. But to have one of these beings stand up at 25 or stand up at 50 or 60 yards or be there at 50 or 60 yards looking at you, holy shit, man. No wonder you felt like the end was there. And what a description. Like, kind of classic, kind of classic description for the most part. The facial, the face and everything else. Wow. And I think you said it was thick like an adult grizzly. Well, if anybody's seen a grizzly bear stand up on its back legs and its arms, its front legs are hanging down and it's doing one of these looking around or whatever, it's just neck. It's basically head into shoulders into massive, like a grizzly's, an adult grizzly's front legs will be like this big around. Okay. They'll be they'll be 16 inches across. I don't know how circumference, I have no idea. Huge. Okay. And the chest, they're a massive animal. Right? They're a massive, massive animal. You think of a big person, a big man, 6'3", 250 pounds. Okay? 6'3", 250, 275 pounds, that's a big man. Okay, 6'6", 6'8", 310 pounds, that's a big football player. Okay? 9 feet, 1,000 pounds, that's freaking huge. I'm going to reach out to you, Ernie. Absolutely. I friggin' hate the fact that, I'm glad that you still go out in the woods, but I hate the fact that it's ruined it for you. I do. I hate that. That pisses me off and bothers me. I've had that happen with me, okay? I've had times where I'm just like, I don't want to go out there anymore. Generally after I've had some kind of an experience or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't want to go out there anymore. Fuck it. But I do. And you do. And, for me, I'm fortunate, I guess, because for me, 99% of the time, I still really enjoy myself and have a really good time. There's times where I'm on edge. There's times when I'm nervous. But I kind of work through it. And that's the best I can do because I'm not willing to give it up. You need to be nervous. You don't need to be paranoid, but you need to be nervous. You need to be on alert. You need to be, and it's not for these beings, it's for everything out in the wilderness, right? There's shit out there that can kill you in a heartbeat. Out here. There's shit out here that can kill you in a heartbeat. So you got to be aware of that. But, man, I'm going to call you because I want to know sort of how your wife is dealing with the whole thing now. And that was a while ago. And I want to know how you're, did you tell your boys about it? Do your boys know? Yeah, I got a lot of questions for you, man. Wow. That's again, I sit here and I put myself in that situation. I just go, Jesus, God Almighty. Sorry, I not taking the Lord's name in vain by any means. It's just like, without swearing profusely. Holy shit. Yeah, wild. Thanks, Ernie. I really appreciate it, man. And I hope you and your wife, Kim, I wish you guys the best. I hope you're doing well now. And I'm going to reach out to you. Ernie did leave his phone number for me, which a lot of people do, and I'm thankful for that, because it's really nice to put a voice to an email and put a voice to a name. And sometimes I can do video call and put a face to a name, and I love that too. So appreciate it, Ernie, and I'm sure everybody else appreciates it. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. I got like 3K back to the main trail, and 3K or so down the main trail, 4K. So I got about 4 miles and back to the truck. But I've had enough. Been out for a few hours, stretched legs good. The dark spot that I was looking at is still there. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's still there. But I'm going to get out of here, and I got some shit to do. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're safe. I hope you are getting out and doing the things you enjoy. And I appreciate your support. Appreciate you being here at Outlaw Country. Got a lot of comments from people saying, you know, I love what you do. You're just you, and there's no bells and whistles. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and blow smoke up anybody's ass or try to change people's opinions or try to convince people of anything. I'm gonna go for hikes. I'm gonna videotape it, and I'm gonna once in a while read some emails for you that people send to me so that I can share with you guys. And what you see is what you get. A little rough around the edges. But whatever. No bullshit here. No bullshit here. And you know what? I don't really care to. Well, I won't talk about a lot of different topics on here. A lot of different things. You will never, ever hear me talk about politics, and you'll never hear me talk about religion, because you just don't talk about those things. I don't. If you do, that's entirely up to you. That is your personal choice. I personally choose not to, never have, never will. So I would way sooner talk about the beauty of Mother Nature and these forest people, the animals, and all you good people watching this. So, all right, that's it. I'm out of here. Funny, I feel better now. That's weird, eh? Like, I felt a little uneasy sitting down, and I saw that black thing over there, and I felt a little uneasy, but I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I've been in here quite a few times, and yeah, I've heard some freaking loud tree knocks and shit in here or whatever, but I was a little bit uneasy, but I'm like, whatever, I'll just do the video, but I'm going to keep my pack on in case I got to run. And then I read Ernie's email, and I was literally friggin' shaking. Like, I was literally sitting here going, holy shit, man. Because I put myself there, eh? And really uneasy reading his email. And I was really uneasy for the first 20 seconds or so after reading his email. But now I feel fine. I don't know. I don't know what to make that out to be, but I don't feel uneasy at all now. So, but anyways, I've had enough. Been a good hike, and I'm gonna get the hell out of here. Head home, have a coffee, get some shit done. Okay. Be kind, you guys. Remember, it's way, way easier to be a good person than be a shithead. Way easier. And a lot of good people out there in the world. And almost 9,000 of them right here at Outlaw Country. Okay, I'm out of here. Take care. Be safe. Lots of mushrooms still out this time of year for this time of year. I don't know what kind those are here, but I'm sure there's enough of you out here or enough of you on here that eat mushrooms that know what they are. But I don't eat mushrooms, because I don't know a damn thing about them. I try to read all the comments on my videos, and I do my absolute best to respond to all of you. And I don't think I've missed any. If I have, it's not been very many. But I'm sure glad that you guys enjoyed the first video from the hunting trip. Really glad that you guys enjoyed that, because that is just such a special place to me. It's just my favorite place in the entire world. I absolutely love it. I get there, I'm like a little kid. I'm like a little kid that just woke up at Christmas morning. And I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Holy cow, here's a whole bunch more mushrooms. All right, people, what kind of mushrooms are they? What kind of mushrooms are those? I know they're not chanterelles, because chanterelles are kind of orange. Because my wife went picking chanterelles with, well, my wife and I both went picking chanterelles with a buddy of mine that knows mushrooms. And those are not chanterelles. Anyways, down to the valley bottom now. Down to the valley bottom. It's pretty steep grade going up here too. Definitely not the steepest that I've been in, but it is steep. So I got about 1 week. I got about a week, 1 week, maybe 8 days, and I am out of here again. I'm out of here again on my wilderness journey. I was a little nervous there during my hunting trip, and when I got home from my hunting trip, I was a little nervous about my health and was I going to be able to do my wilderness journey. But because I was so fatigued, more fatigued than I've ever been, tired, just zero energy, but I'm feeling much better, so I don't have much time to plan and prepare. I've done a lot of planning already, but prepare for my wilderness journey, and I'm out of here. And the nice thing with that trip is it's really easy to get ready for, because I only take 10 things with me. I take 10 items. Boy, would this ever be a nice little camp spot right here. Hey? So yeah, if you haven't seen my first wilderness journey, which are my very first videos on my channel, if you haven't seen those videos, my wilderness journey, I take 10 items with me. No food, no water, no shelter, no weapons other than a bow. I take a traditional, I take a recurve bow with me. And that's the only weapon I have. I take a recurve bow. I take bear spray and an air horn. I take a knife. I take a Leatherman. I take snare wire. I take paracord. I have one small tarp. And about 6 pieces of clothing and a sleeping bag. And my flint, or sorry, not my flint. I don't use a flint. I use a ferro rod, my ferro rod. And that's it. That's all I take. And I go out and I live off the land. Whatever Mother Nature is going to provide for me, that's what I live off of. Squirrels, grouse, rabbits, whatever I can do. I build my shelter, generally out of logs. Build my shelter, cut my firewood, find my water, and catch my food. and I love it. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel alive, and it makes me feel very thankful when I get home. It makes me feel super thankful for everything I have, all the luxuries that I have. So, yeah, 7 or 8 days I'm out of here. Don't know how long I'm going to be gone. So I'm sorry, people. I have no idea when I'll be home. And I'll have no communication with any of you, unfortunately. I will have communication with Mrs. Outlaw and my children, because it's mandatory. Mrs. Outlaw will not let me go without having my Garmin and being able to just let her know that I'm okay. So, but I'll have no communication with you guys for as long as I'm gone. And we'll see. I don't put a time on anything when I'm out there. I just go, I'm gonna go out until I'm ready to come home, and until I've done what I feel I need to do. And when that's done, I come home. Trying to zoom in here. It's another dark spot. Whatever. Anyways, I hope you guys tune in for that. When I get back, I'll get working on editing those videos. So anyways, I'm out of here, people. Later.